Welcome to the Sage Solutions podcast, where we talk about all things personal growth, personal development, and becoming your best self. My name is David Sage, and I am a self-worth and confidence coach with Sage Coaching Solutions. Today's episode is another solo episode, and we're going to be talking about a really exciting topic, something that comes up in my coaching quite a bit. It's called 6 Human Needs Psychology. But before we get into it, our goal with this podcast is to share free, helpful tools with you and anyone you know who is looking to improve their life. So take action, subscribe, and share this podcast with them. Now, the idea of human needs driving people's motivations in psychology isn't a new one. It dates all the way back to the father of psychology himself, Sigmund Freud. We can credit Freud for recognizing that all humans have needs, and that often humans are motivated to do things to get those needs met. But frankly, a lot of Freudian psychology has been disproven for a myriad of reasons, and it was more like the basis for the idea in the first place, so we're not going to focus too much on how he constructed his ideas. A much more concrete and defined version of these human needs came from Abraham Maslow in his 1943 paper, A Theory of Human Motivation. It's commonly referred to as Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's usually depicted as a pyramid, showing that there is a hierarchy of needs that humans have to meet, and that they need to meet the needs that are on the bottom of the pyramid before they can focus on getting the needs at higher ends of the pyramid met. Now, it's went through several iterations, but the most widely accepted version has 5 different needs. These are physiological needs at the bottom of the pyramid, safety and security as the next rung on the pyramid, love and belonging as the middle of the pyramid, self-esteem getting to the higher end of the pyramid, and self-actualization at the top. This was a groundbreaking approach because there was a reasonable amount of data to back it up, and it introduced the concept of having to get certain needs met before you could really focus on others. This revolutionized the way that psychology looked at human needs. It was especially helpful with children because it lined up very closely with developmental psychology and is still used today. But Maslow's hierarchy of needs is reasonably dated. It's not the most practical model of human needs, and it doesn't always hold up in the real-world situations, especially with adults. So I personally use it as a reference point and another way of looking at something, but not really something that I think about or refer to very often because I tend to put emphasis on something being practical and useful. But eventually, world-renowned family therapist Chloe Madonis formed her own model of the human needs, using influences from modern psychology and psychologists throughout time, including Milton Erickson and Maslow himself, to create a new model of human psychological needs. These 6 human needs, while not all-encompassing or perfect, are a much more practical, flexible, and effective model for understanding human motivations. Tony Robbins, motivational legend, also adopted these needs and regularly uses them to create massive changes in people's lives. I learned this model during my training as a coach and find it to be an essential part of my coaching. It is the most useful and effective model that I have come across and has made a huge difference with my clients. So, to get into the 6 human needs, they are certainty, variety, significance, love and connection, growth, and contribution. In some ways, this model could also be put into a pyramid, but I think that might be a little too restrictive in the ways that we think about it. The best thing about this model, it provides the flexibility to account for each individual, valuing each of these needs in different proportions. But it is a fact that everyone needs all 6 of these, at least to some degree. But the first 2 needs are actually a direct dichotomy. The first need is certainty. Certainty is something that everyone needs because we all need to feel some sense of order, some sense of control, some sense of normalcy. we have to have some certainty in our life, or life would be absolutely terrifying. Everyone needs certainty. But different people need certainty in different ways, and it manifests in different ways, or to different degrees for each individual. For some people, just having 4 walls and food to eat is all the certainty they need. For others, they would need to make $1 million a year before they could feel certain. And even then, it usually just goes up. Certainty also accounts for things like physical safety, a roof over your head, and the basic needs to survive. It's also important to understand the difference between a need and its vehicle. Everyone is trying to get these needs met, but they can be met in many, many different ways. The vehicle in which we each take to get these needs met can be dramatically different. Some of them incredibly helpful or beneficial, and some of them honestly quite destructive and generally unhelpful, which often explains when people do things that don't seem to make a lot of sense. They're usually trying to get one of these needs met. They're just not doing it in a good way. Some common vehicles for certainty include making a schedule, ordering the same thing at a restaurant, trying to control everything in your vicinity, even when you don't have control, never taking risks, never leaving home, following holiday traditions, keeping your house clean, and controlling other people. As far as certainty goes, there are some other words or kind of synonyms, code names, whatever you want to call it, that help tip you off that somebody is valuing certainty. These include safety, comfort, security, tradition, predictability, protection, normalcy, regularity, routine, order, and stability. The next of our 6 human needs is variety, also known as uncertainty. As you can see, this is a direct dichotomy. These are on complete opposite ends of the spectrum. They are order and chaos. They are certainty and uncertainty. They are being comfortable and being uncomfortable. And we often need to find the shades of gray in between so that we can get both needs met. The polarizing aspect of having 2 dramatically different needs that are on opposite ends of the spectrum often causes a lot of conflict and hardship in people's lives because they don't understand that they need both and are often severely lacking one or over-indexing on the other. Everyone needs variety. Otherwise, life isn't worth living. If everything was exactly the same in every way, you would go crazy. People need to experience new things. People need excitement. People need their heart rate to move. Some of the vehicles that we use for getting variety or uncertainty met include traveling, going new places, trying new restaurants, and trying new things in general. Doing extreme sports, going on roller coasters, bungee jumping, skydiving, gambling, compulsive sexuality, breaking the rules, or committing a crime, and even having affairs. As you can see, some of these can be very helpful strategies for getting variety, while others are incredibly destructive. Some synonyms or code names for variety include uncertainty, fear, excitement, surprise, change, instability, chaos, suspense, entertainment, conflict, crisis, and new experiences. Now, the first 2 human needs form the foundation for how we experience the world. They are at the base of the pyramid because you have to figure out, and you are constantly feeling, some proportions of each of these. They are order and chaos, yin and yang, certainty and variety. In many ways, they represent the balancing act that you need to do to meet many of the needs that were at the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy, while also living life. The 3rd and 4th needs form the next rung up, which is still part of the base of the 6 human needs, which consists of the 4 that make up the base and the 2 higher level needs. The third need, and the first of the next layer, is significance. Everyone has a need for significance. We form this from childhood. We want our parents to pay attention to us. We want to feel like we're important to other people. The third and fourth needs are by far the most social. They're ingrained in us because of evolutionary psychology. We evolved in groups and became social animals. It was our intellect and ability to work together as a group that made us the dominant animal, in addition to being able to use and create tools together. It's why we fear being socially ostracized, almost more than death itself at times. Significance is what makes us feel like others value us. Many find their significance through work or through honing a skill. People find significance through being important to others or having others respect them. Without significance, it can be very hard to keep it all together. Nobody wants to feel like they don't matter. We can find some significance within ourselves, and I tend to work with people on this. But with no internal significance, there's going to be a lot of problems in your life. And these problems are going to arise from you trying to get all of your needs met from the external world. Some of the vehicles that people use to get significance met are being the best at what they do, trying to get a promotion at work, doing things that impress other people, being valued in their family, being valued by their spouse, getting the respect of their colleagues, winning awards, making lots of money, getting an impressive title, or being put in a leadership role, bragging, getting lots of likes and comments on social media, or even putting others down to make yourself feel more important. Some synonyms or code names for significance are respect, achievement, performance, esteem, worth, value, discipline, competition, importance, and being the best. The fourth human need is love and connection. Everyone needs love. You can find love from many different sources, but a life without love feels hollow. People will jump through hoops and do crazy things to get love. We crave love possibly more than anything on this list. People can get love from their family, from their friends, from their significant other, from their children, and even from themselves. Trying to get all of your love, all of the time, from external sources, and get none of it internally, is like dying of dehydration and trying to sip the water through a coffee straw. One of the things that I teach in my coaching, amongst many other parts of getting some of these needs met by yourself, in addition to in healthy ways by others, is how to learn to give yourself love, kindness, and compassion. Love has many definitions, and I'm not going to try and define it right here. But some synonyms or code names for love and connection are togetherness, passion, unity, tenderness, desire, fondness, affection, intimacy, warmth, and having a bond. People want to be connected to other people. Vulnerability is one of the ways that we do that. It's one of the strongest ways for others to feel connected, when they feel similarity, when they feel that you're human. That's how you let others in. Some vehicles for getting love and connection are relationships, dating, quick hookups, taking care of our family, raising children, getting married, and taking care of animals, joining a support group, cheating on a spouse, or even joining a gang. One thing that people notice is when they give love, they actually feel some themselves. Now, significance and love are much less of a dichotomy, but they do find themselves on a counterbalancing scale, where sometimes when people overdo one, they neglect the other. And it causes people to feel an imbalance between feeling important and feeling connected. If we try and show that we're better than everyone else and that we're perfect, it makes it hard for people to feel connected to us. We're hiding that we're human. And the flip side is true. If all we do is show our insecurities, emotionally dump, and show weaknesses, it makes it really hard for others to respect us. We have to find that balance. We finally come to the two higher needs of 6 human needs psychology. These two fall more in line with the higher part of the pyramid on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The 5th need, and the first of the upper needs, is growth. If you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not learning, you're losing. Curiosity. Being open to learning new things. Growing, developing, learning, changing, becoming a better version of yourself. They're the whole reason this podcast exists. This is a base human need for us to advance, improve, to see progress, to feel like we're getting better every day. People meet needs for growth in many different ways. Some of them include listening to this podcast, reading books, watching informative shows, going through life with the eye of a learner, learning from your experiences, seeking out new information, rethinking things as you go, and consistently trying to make yourself better, working out or lifting weights, going to school, getting therapy, traveling, practicing a skill, going to church, getting coaching, network marketing, and even joining a cult. Not all growth is a good thing. Some synonyms are code names for growth: our personal development, learning, making progress, advancing, improving, getting better, and becoming your best self. The 6th and final need of the 6 human needs, and the 2nd need of the upper needs, is contribution. Contribution means making a difference, helping people. It means giving back and doing something that is bigger than yourself, contributing to others. It's often called service. It's when you do something that is bigger than yourself and give back. There are many vehicles for contribution: helping out a friend, volunteering at a local charity, or doing something that helps advance society or make people's lives better. Heck, just being a good person. Some synonyms or code names for contribution include fulfillment, service, purpose, giving, helping, charity, volunteering, and making a difference. These 6 human needs come in 3 layers: the balance of chaos and order through certainty and variety, the balance of significance and love in your social connections, and the balance towards improving yourself and improving the world through growth and contribution. Once again, the 6 human needs are certainty, variety, significance, love and connection, growth, and contribution. The first 3 human needs form the true foundation of what we need before we can really feel okay. Certainty, variety, and significance. Everyone finds a way to get these 3 first needs met, even if they have to lie to themselves to make themselves believe that they have it. This is innate and foundational. The second 3 needs are the 3 higher needs and tend to give us the most fulfillment: love and connection, growth, and contribution. The paradox is that if you can find a way to meet all 3 of the higher needs, they tend to sort out the 3 lower needs on their own. Most healthy ways that people can find love, growth, and contribution also lead to a good mix of certainty, variety, and significance. Once you have an understanding that all of these play a role in your life, and that you are constantly trying to get all, some, or one of these needs met in some way, even if it's subconsciously. In fact, it's often subconsciously. We start to understand that we can redirect or use different vehicles to get our needs met. The most practical way for us to use 6 human needs psychology is to take a step back and try as hard as we can, without any ego, to objectively take a pulse and evaluate where we feel our needs are at on a scale of 1 to 10 for each need, and figure out the different ways or different places where we are getting those needs met. Once we have an understanding of where our needs are at and how we are meeting them, we can then take a look at how to redirect or find other ways to meet these needs that are more helpful, more practical, or less destructive. We can also start to understand why we do what we do in a much more accurate way. If we can figure out that we are severely lacking in a need, then we can actually be more effective in trying to get that need met in a healthy way and communicate that to other people. We get so much more awareness, which can make a world of difference in not making destructive decisions or using destructive vehicles, because we realize that the need is the need. If we can find another way to get it met, we will still have that need met. It does not have to be that specific vehicle. You can also use this in your relationships with others. Now, I'm not saying that you should be hyper-analyzing everyone and telling them how they should get their needs met. Don't do this. You're going to upset people, they're not going to listen to you, and it's not going to make a difference. But if you can realize that the motivation for what they're doing might be to get a need met, then you can help them meet that need in a better way. It's also important for us to understand that at any given time, everyone has 2 primary needs of the 6 human needs. A lot of us are inclined to have 2 needs that are our primary needs. But in different situations and in different points in our lives, even people that are really inclined to 2 will have other ones be more primary at different times. Figuring out what your loved one's 2 primary needs are going to be the biggest drivers of their actions. Figuring out what your current 2 primary needs are is going to make a huge difference in understanding why you're doing what you're doing so that you can do it in a better way. Now, this isn't all-encompassing. There are other things that people need, and not everything can be fully explained through this. But it is the most useful method that I have found. And when you combine it with other tools, this can be one of the most helpful tools in that tool belt. It's also important to remember that this is not individualized advice. This is broad, generally helpful advice, and you need to take a look at your own situation and figure out how this advice applies to you. Now, if you are looking for personalized advice and are interested in individualized coaching, feel free to reach out to me at sagecoachingsolutions@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to the Sage Solutions podcast. Your time is valuable, and I'm so glad you continue to choose to learn and grow here with me. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on more Sage advice. One last thing. The legal language. This podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. No coaching-client relationship is formed. It is not intended as a substitute for the personalized advice of a physician, professional coach, psychotherapist, or other qualified professional.